Hello everyone. Today I will explain about that how we are going to create REST APIs using Spring Boot. Spring Boot is a powerful framework that makes it easy to create RESTful APIs. So in this session, we will go through step-by-step process on how to create RESTful API in Spring Boot with MySQL and JPA. So we will start by creating a new Spring Boot project and configure it for our needs. So if we talked about the step-by-step process, then the first step will be we need to set up our development environment. So what basically we need, first of all, we need JDK. So if we are going to use the like Maven 3 version, then definitely the minimum versions of the Java will be 17. That is, we need to install into our local. Then your favorite editor, whatever it is, like maybe IntelliJ or IDE like Eclipse. So those editor we need to install into our system. The next one is the MySQL server. So the need of this MySQL server, because here we are going to use the database as a MySQL. Instead of that, if we want to use some Oracle or Postgre, so that particular like a database we need to install into our local machines. Okay, so this is the kind of setting up the development environment. Once this is done, then next we need to create a Spring Boot project. So how we are going to create that Spring Boot project? So for creating that, we need to generate the project from Spring Boot Initializr. So in a browser, basically you need to open this one, Spring Initializr. Over here you will get these options. From here you can just choose the language, then project type like either Maven or Gradle, then Spring Boot version. So I'm using this 3.3.3 over here. Then group we need to select, artifact, name, description, packaging type, either it will be a jar or maybe war. Okay, then Java versions. From the right side over here, we need to choose the dependencies, like what type of dependencies we need over here. Like for my case, in my case, basically I have used the main dependencies, that is called the Spring Web actually, which will basically use to creating the RESTfuls applications, and Apache Tomcat also it will be embedded into that container. Next is Spring Data JPA, because what I use this one. So as we are going to save integrate with the MySQL database, and we are going to do some kind of the CRUD activities like saving the data or fetching the data. So that's why this Spring Data JP is the medium to talking with the database. Once these things are ready with us, once we click on the generate button, it will generate the ready-made project for us. Means we don't need to bother about the project structure and all. So next, so after generating that project, we have imported this particular project over here. From here, you can check the dependencies, what dependencies we have defining over here. So as I said, from here you can see that the Maven version is 3.3.3. Over here, this is the group ID, this is the artifact ID, these are the name, and this is the description. So those are also we can change from over here. Java version, it's a 17. We can also use 21. Okay, so that version also you can modify over here. Other than this, the dependencies wise, the data JPA, Spring Boot Starter Web, Spring Boot Dev Tools, Lombok, and the starter test, these are the dependencies. These are the dependencies basically we have used over here. Lombok, why we use the Lombok? So the Lombok, the purpose of using the Lombok, because suppose if we want to generate one entities or maybe DTO, so for that we need to write the getter setter. But instead of removing the boilerplate code and use something else, so we just need to use some kind of the annotation over there. So that's why we have used the Lombok. I will show you that why we are using the Lombok, what is the purpose of it. So now this is the kind of project structure or readiness of our project before creating the REST APIs. Now we are going to create the actual coding over here. So first of all, we need to create one entity, this entity class to represent our data model. So here we will create one product actually entity, which will basically storing the product related informations, and over there so let me create that one. So over here right click, then from over here create this package, or maybe either we can create like dot REST API. Okay, so now over here I can create one entity. Let me create one class. Let's say the name will be product. Okay, so this particular product, actually we like defining this class over here. So now we need to use some annotations over here as we are using the Spring Boot data JPA. So as you can see over here, this entity will come from this Jakarta persistence table and entity also. So in this way we are defining this table that this particular entity will represent a product data model. After that, we need to defining the different types of like what I can say, different types of columns of the one. So first of all, long IDs. It will be a primary key. I'll show you that how we are going to defining this primary key and the other fields. Then we can defining the product name. The next one will be price. Okay. Then we can say the quantity. So it will be an integer. Okay, so this field we can like used over here. Now for defining it as a primary key, as we know, the primary key will be a unique ID. So for making it as a ID, we need to use the @ID annotation, and ID, these annotations also come from this Jakarta dot persistence. Now next one, because this ID will be generated automatically inside of the database, so either we can use some kind of the sequence or something else, right? So for that, here we don't need to bother about the ID generation because it will be the automatic. So for that, another annotations over there which will be @generated value, and over there we need to provide the strategy, like what is the will be the strategy. The strategy will be identity, so it will be the behaving as a identity. If we clicked over here, so you can get the details like indicate that the persistence provider must assign primary keys for the entity using a database identity column. So it says it will be primary key for the entity using a database identity column. So this is the like need of this identity or the generated value and the generation strategy. So this is the thing for defining the column. Over there is another annotations @column over here. So this is the column annotations over here. So either we can provide the name or default. If we're not providing anything, so default it will be take this name. So we can provide this column annotations over here. Similar for this also. Okay, so this is done. Now next we can like defining the getter and setter method. Okay, as I said, so this and getter and setter method is coming from the Lombok annotation. So this is actually taken care by this Lombok. So this is the need of this Lombok one. If we are not going to use this Lombok, then either manually we need to create the getter and setter of those fields. So this is the like about this that how we are going to create this entity which will mapping to the this uh, Spring Data JPA. Okay, so this is about this product entity over here. Next, what we are going to create, we need to create the repository interface. So this interface basically will handle the database operations for the product entity. So for that, we need to create one repository. Let's say it's a product repository, new interface. It will be a product repository. So it will be extend. We need to extend JPA repository over here. Extend JPA repository over here. JPA repository. Okay, and here we need to defining the product entity over here, and the ID will be long, correct, because we are defining this primary key as long over here. So either we can annotate this particular interface as repository, or it is basically not needed also. We can defining this one, or it is not required. Okay, so this is by default it will behaving as a repository. Why it will taking as a default as a repository? Because we have extending this JPA repository. Okay, so it will not, we don't need to modify anything over here. Okay, so this is about this repository. So this repository annotation specifies that this interface is a repository and Spring will create an instance of it automatically. The JPA repository interface that I said over here, that provides a set of methods like for performing the create operations, like create, read, then update, delete operations on the product entity. So next, what we are going to create over here, next we are going to create a product service class. So this particular product service class, basically it will doing the saving the product informations, get all the products from the database, and get product by the update from get product by ID from the database. So this kind of method actually it will take over here. So let me create that service layer. Let me create that service layer. So the service layer will be product service. Okay, and we need to annotate this particular class at the rate service annotation. So this service annotation, once we are defining this class as service, then it will be details. It will, the Spring will automatically create the bin of it, or it will create the context. It will add it into the Spring Boot context. Then over here we are going to use this over here this repository. Okay, so here in my last of one of the tutorial that we need to that use this product repository bin over here inject. So for injecting the bin, actually basically there are three options. One is the directly field injection we can do, one is the setter, and another one is the constructor injection. So here I am going to do this constructor injection. Okay, so that's why it's showing red, because it says that either initialize final field at the declarations, or we can initialize under this constructor. So we have defining injecting this bin over here as a constructor injection over here. Okay, now we need to write one method which will basically save the product information into the database. So for that we need to create one method over here. Let's say it will return the product and then save product. Okay, so what information we are going to save? We are going to save the information product. So how we are going to saving that product, save the product information? We are going to using the product repository. This product repository we are going to save the information into the database. Product repository dot saved, and here we need to pass this particular entity, and this entity having all the information like name, price, and the quantity. Based on this it will save the data into the database. So save product, this is the one of the method which will be used to save the information into the database. Now if we want to fetch all the data from the database, so for that we need to create another method this one, which will return the list of products, and then product repository actually having this find all method. This find all actually select all the details from the product, and this will return list of product. So this using way we can return all the product. Now let's say if we want to fetch the data based on the ID. So for that we need to pass the ID over here, long ID, and then based on this repository it's having one method find by ID. As you can see, we have not creating this method save, find all, find by ID. So these are already default method under this repository. So JPA repository is having all those method over here. This is the, you can see over here like this all the methods find all, then find by ID, all the methods actually is having. Okay, list or this. So this, if we need to go over here, then these are the save all, so it's find all. So these all the methods already available over here. We have not created anything over here under this repository. We are using the some default methods over here like save, find all, and find by ID. This find by ID return basically optional of product, like that may be based on the ID, that product may be over there or maybe not. So based on that it will be over there. So next what we are going to create, next we are going to create one of the controller layer, from where basically we need to what we can say, we can we need to call these methods, and then we need to call particular this method and return to the user interface. For creating the controller we need to create another class which will, let's say, product controller. And So actually we have create, like we can create different types of like package structure over here, like res.api.controller, api.entity, api.repository, api.service. So this kind of packaging structure we can do. So those will be, we can understand better. But those kind of things we can easily, like whenever we are going to develop any big applications or like in a real-time application, in the time we can obviously, if we follow in this way, creating the separate packaging structure for different types of layer, so that will be better. But here I'm thinking for demonstrating that is not needed, so that's why I am keeping all the classes in a single package. So for make it as a REST controller, make it as a for exposing those API over here, we need to annotate this particular class with REST controller. This REST controller annotation is coming from this Spring framework.web.bind.annotation. So this is the main annotation. If we annotate particular class with this annotation, then it will be like creating the API with as a REST API we can expose over here. Next is like we need to use this request mapping API annotations over here is basically used to uh, we can say that for mapping the path, basically whenever we are going to call those APIs, so this will be the base path for calling the API endpoints. Okay, so next we need to inject this product service over here. So as we did similar kind of thing for the product services over here, similar kind of dependencies we did for product repository, similar kind of here we are going to do the constructor injection over here. So in this way we can do the constructor injection. So here first of all, creating a new product, we need to create one method over here, means post mapping, which will do the saving the product into the database. So how we are going to write the method over here? So first of all, we need to defining one method over here that is called the post mapping, because this will be the post required while we are going to save any information into the database. In the same time we are going to defining any method as a post. If we want to update anything, then we need to create those method as a put method. So as we are going to saving the informations over here, so that's why we are going to like creating the method as save product. It will take this product as means we need to take some input, like whenever we're going to inserting some record or like we are going to capturing something, that basically we need to save it into our database. So that time we need to receive some request from the maybe endpoint or some from the client or from the like postman, from where basically we are going to from the postman. So those requests will receive as a, so that's why we need to annotate this particular detail as a request body, because in a post we need received those data in a request body. So that's why we need to maintain this as a request body. Okay, so next using this service, basically we need to save the data dot save. Okay, dot saved product, because we have already created this save product method into the product service class. We just need to call this method over here, and then what we can, like it will return the product response over here, or else we can, what we can return from over here, return return response entity, return response entity and dot okay, and under this okay we need to return this over from over here. Okay, so regarding the response entity, already I have one tutorial that I will share in the link description section. Then we are going to like you can follow this one, that how this response entity basically worked and what are the different types of implementation areas. So this is the, that in this way basically you can save the product over here. Next we are going to create the product that will next API, that is a gate, which will basically, so for gate mapping we can use the gate mapping over here, gate mapping annotation, that is called this Get mapping. Here we have created one method that is called the get all products, and here we have also defining this path over here that is called the get mapping over here products like slash API slash products. From this product service we have called this get all product. Next we will call that like another API which will product by ID. Here ID will be the parameters of this one, that is called the path variable we are going to use over here, something like that. Let me show you over here this get mapping with this, and then we need to create one method over here, this one. Okay. Okay, so over here as you can see that this is basically the path variable. This is called the path variable that we are passing this ID, and then product service dot get product by ID. It is written the optional of one. So make it like if it is mapped, this is okay, or else we need to say that not found. Means if it is okay from here, if it is okay, then we need to say that it is okay. Else we need to return that we have not found anything for this one, right? So this is about this how we are going to create the REST APIs. So next what we'll do, like as this kind of things we need to save into the like databases. So for that we need to configure database over here, right? So here we need to defining some properties. So I've already like in my last project over here we have defining this one. So let me add this one. Okay, so I'm adding these properties over here. Okay, like this data source, then to username, password, then to detail, because we are not going to create the table over here manually. We just like need to create those things like it will automatically, once the application will start, it will create that particular table into the database. Okay, so next like we need to run this application, and let me run this application and it will create that database over there. Let me also open this SQL yolk, so the database. I have started this application, and once the application will start, then we can see that once it will start, the product table automatically create over there. Okay, let me connect it. So over here we can see that table still is not created over here. Let us see, it is okay, cannot load this. Okay, we need to use that dependencies over here. Okay, that MySQL CJ dependencies is not added, so that's why it's coming MySQL. So here we need to add this MySQL CJ, that connector CJ dependencies. Again we need to restart this application. So now it will start. It will take some time to start. Once it will start, looks like it will start it soon, and from here let me refresh it. You can see that product table got created over here, correct? So once it is start, then product table already is created. Now from the postman, like we can't call this particular API. Okay, so let me open the postman. So here you can see that we can create those APIs. So let's like, as you can see that product table is empty now. So for that we need to like save the data, few datas in a product table. So localhost 8080, it's a default port that Tomcat basically started. Then slash API slash saved. Let us see that what is the URL, slash product. Okay, so here API product. Now in the body basically we need to pass the JSON. Okay, so here we need to, it's loading, it's taking some time actually. But what fields basically we need to pass? So from the product table we need to pass this name, price and the quantity, right? These three fields we need to pass. So first of all is name, let's say mobile, price, price, price 10,000.00, and then quantity, 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 let's say 10. Okay. Okay, now let us, I'm triggering this one. Let's see what is coming over here. Okay, it says 200. Okay, right? So now if we open the database and let us open this product table, you can see that got inserted over here. Let us add another. Okay, it will auto insert it 2, 3, then 4. So 4 record we have inserted over here, right? If you see over here, the 4 record got inserted over here. So next we can like create another API over here for find all, localhost slash tt slash API slash products. So it will basically returns all the products from the database. So it will return 4 records, right? You can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, all the records. Now find by ID. So for that we need to like so products then slash means it's a path variable basically we need to used over here. So products then slash, so here basically we need to pass the path variable, that is the one. So it will fetch only this one IDs over here, right? This is the one. Now if we pass this 4, then it will fetch the 4 IDs. This is okay. Now if we say let's say 40, so it is not available, then in the time it will say that not found, 404 not found, because we have written the code in such a way that it will be said that not found. So in this way basically we can easily create the REST APIs using in a Spring Boot. That is very easy. We can also connect with the database, that is also very easy over here. So this is the thing that how we are going to create any APIs in a Spring Boot application in easy way. So this is all about the things. If you guys have anything, please do let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Please press the bell icon for further notification. Thanks for your time. See you in my next videos. Bye bye.